Bitcoin is approaching new yearly highs as the institutional adoption of crypto continues to accelerate. Polygon 2.0 has been fully announced, which is a complete overhaul of the Polygon blockchain as well as the MATIC token. And there is a record amount of CRO coin being burned, now sitting at 12.8 million, at the same time that the crypto.org chain is about to break a user milestone. We are going to break all that down for you guys and more in today's daily market update. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Everything Crypto Show. Now, right off the bat, you can obviously tell that my voice is not 100%, but the market does not stop moving and we do not stop working. So we're going to hop right in here with the market overview before we get into the news. And taking a look at the top 10, we can see that it's been a pretty good week. Bitcoin up over 1%. Alts have definitely taken the lead this week as we see Ether up 4.34%. And the two biggest performers is Litecoin, who made its way back into the top 10, up 22%. And this is because of the Litecoin halving, which I believe is happening in August. And then we have Solana up 19% on the week and up a very solid amount on the year from that bottom around the $13 zone. So that's it for the top 10 cryptos. The majority of the crypto market is booming, and for most of this year, it has actually been Bitcoin leading the pack. And we've been warning about this for quite a while on the channel, that in these accumulation phases, Bitcoin dominance does tend to go up as people do tend to take a look at the blue chip of the industry, and that is most definitely Bitcoin in this case. So we can see here that on a year-to-date basis, the Bitcoin dominance is up. I believe it's up over 20% from the bottom it made on January 9th. It's currently up 25% year to date. And if you have noticed that Bitcoin is outperforming your altcoin, then don't worry, it's not just your altcoin. This is simply the part of the market cycle we are in where people do tend to flock to safety. And when we're talking about crypto, that is most definitely Bitcoin. And you can take a look here and see that it has actually broken out of multi-year resistance levels at the 48 to 49% level. And I would actually expect it to make its way back up to the 58% level before Bitcoin dominance does cool off. So we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart as well, because I do want to show you guys, as we are approaching yearly highs, that Bitcoin may in fact be topping out here just for the next couple of weeks until we actually do get any sort of confirmation on a spot ETF. I think that if the BLACROCK spot ETF does get approved, that is what would propel Bitcoin to new yearly highs. But we can see here that Bitcoin has pretty much just been textbook following the uptrend that did begin here at the start of the year. It tested $20,000 as a level of support back in March, back tested at $25,000 in June. And right now we are in fact testing the $31,000 area of resistance. So if I take the indicators and put them back on the chart here, you're going to notice that the 200-week moving average is currently coming in for Bitcoin at about the 26.7K level, and the bull market support band is within the same range. So if Bitcoin does get rejected, I will be looking for a retest of $27,000. And if we don't hold there, I do think that more downside is likely. You can see that the bull market support band, the 200-week moving average, are both lining up here perfectly with the uptrending channel that we have had drawn on the chart. And then to the upside, if Bitcoin does break above that $31,000 level, I do believe that 32.5K would be next. And that is actually the high that we put in May of last year and tried to retest it here at the beginning of June before Bitcoin did capitulate all the way from that level down to 15.5K in November. So to the upside, I'm looking for a successful test and breakout above 31K. And to the downside, I would be looking for a retest of $27,000. And at the moment, I do think it is very dependent on what happens with this Bitcoin spot ETF. So at the moment, just really waiting patiently. And taking a look at Ether as well, I mean, very similarly to Bitcoin, we can see that it is respecting the uptrending channel that we have had on the charts here. It went ahead and tested the $1,400 area as support back in March and the $1,700 area more or less back in June, and currently looks like it wants to make its way back up to $2,000. Now, if Ether can actually break above $2,000, that is when I think we see a more serious altcoin rally. And also important to note that Ether has been backtesting its bull market market support band as a level of support from the beginning of the year, and most recently did so here at around the $1,700 to let's say $1,784 to $1,800 zone, and we saw a nice bounce up here, currently sitting at $1,955. So Ether also trading in a very tight range, looking for downside at 1,800 and a break above 2,000 for the alt market to take off to the races. So as we just mentioned, a lot of the price action here has been based around the Bitcoin spot ETF that BlackRock has officially filed for. And obviously, BlackRock being the largest asset manager in the world here, this is a massive deal. We can see that as of Q2 of 2022, which is the latest data from Statista.com, and we could assume that it's gone up since then as the market has rallied. They had $8.5 trillion worth of assets under management. This is reportedly back above $9 trillion. So it's no exaggeration to say that if the spot ETF gets approved, that trillions of dollars could flow into Bitcoin. And when you see Bitcoin sitting here with just over a $600 billion market cap, that does really put things into perspective of just how early we are and why this spot ETF will be very important. So last week, we actually saw the SEC rejected their spot ETF filing, saying that the information was unclear and incomplete, and they flagged similar concerns to Fidelity, who also filed for their Bitcoin spot ETF. So we actually saw yesterday that NASDAQ refiled their application on behalf of BlackRock for the spot ETF, and the refiling said that Coinbase is basically going to be the market surveillance, the person who is going to hold the Bitcoin on behalf of BlackRock for the spot ETF. And Fidelity also refiled, saying that they would be using Coinbase for their Bitcoin holdings. Now, the one conflict of interest I do see here, something I am potentially looking at as a risk factor, is the fact that earlier in June, the SEC sued Coinbase for alleged securities violations. So are they going to see this as a conflict of interest, or is the power of BlackRock going to prevail and have the SEC finally approve this ETF? Now, keep in mind, like we mentioned, BlackRock has $8.5 trillion in assets under management. Fidelity here coming in at 4.2. That is over $13 trillion worth of assets that are going to potentially be open to Bitcoin if this spot ETF does get approved. And that is why we have seen Bitcoin hitting new yearly highs and outperforming majority of the market. But what's more interesting to note is that BlackRock has not always been so bullish on Bitcoin. In fact, we can see here back in 2017 that BlackRock CEO Larry Fink calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. So this was back in 2017. And this goes to show you guys why I say don't listen to the big money. The odds are if they tell you they're bearish on crypto, you need to look at what they're doing behind the scenes. And we know that behind the scenes, they have been bullish on crypto. We know JP Morgan is invested in Ethereum. We know Fidelity has been bullish on Bitcoin for quite a while. So I tend to pay more attention not to what they're saying, but what they are actually doing. Because if you listen to BlackRock here, this was back in 2017 when he said it's an index of money laundering. This is when Bitcoin hit a record high of $5,800, and it was up 470% on the year. Bitcoin at the moment is about 5.5 to 6 times higher than it was when he initially said that, and it appears that now BlackRock wants to get into the party. So they called it money laundering at 5.8K, and now at 31K they are interested in filing for a spot ETF. And it goes to show you how powerful Bitcoin is, and that institutional adoption of this asset class is inevitable in my opinion. And we also see Larry Fink here saying that Bitcoin has got the attention and imagination of many people. And this was recently, right? So compare this to his statements back in 2017. Still untested, quite small compared to other markets. These big giants move every day. It's a narrow market. Can it evolve into a global market? Maybe. And we also saw the CIO of BlackRock say that Bitcoin is here to stay and that it will replace gold to a large extent. And gold coming in with a market cap of over 11 trillion. That just goes to show you guys how much room Bitcoin does have to run here. Not even over 650 billion in terms of market cap at the moment. Now, I do want to hop into the news here, the altcoin news more specifically, and what we are going to start this off with talking about is Polygon 2.0. So Polygon is a project that we have been covering pretty frequently on the channel. I think that this is going to be a big winner of the next bull run, and at the moment we can see the Polygon proof of stake chain is currently sitting in 6th place with 1.04 billion in TVL. However, that is not the only blockchain that Polygon does have going for them. They do also have the Polygon ZK EVM chain, which was launched earlier this year and has been booming in terms of TVL. At launch date, had about 120k USD value on March 28th, and now here a couple of months later, it is sitting at over 28.28 mil USD in total value locked. Now, Polygon 2.0 here is a complete overhaul of all of their blockchains as well as the use case of the MATIC token itself. And effectively, what this is basically looking to do is go ahead and combine a web of networks ultimately connected to each other through Ethereum. So if approved by validators, Polygon 2.0 will feature an aggregator that makes bridge transactions near instant and atomic coming from the team. So in simpler terms, effectively, the Polygon proof of stake chain, Polygon ZK EVM, and Ethereum would all be interoperable with a very easy bridge feature, kind of turning the Polygon ecosystem into a true layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So there are 4 different layers they break down that this chain will consist of. There's the staking layer. This consists of a validator manager contract on Ethereum, plus an additional chain manager contract for each individual Polygon chain. In the future, new Polygon chains will be able to form by launching chain manager contracts on Ethereum. Connecting to this foundational staking layer will be an interoperability layer that contains bridges connecting each Polygon chain to one another through Ethereum, and this layer will be secured by using zero-knowledge proofs to validate all transfers. The interoperability layer will also feature an aggregator that combines individual zero-knowledge proofs from each bridge into one before sending it to Ethereum, and this is the purpose of a layer 2 solution to enable seamless bridge transactions and dramatically reduce Ethereum gas consumption for proof verification, which will help speed up the network but also help to make it more cheap and more efficient. The third layer is going to be the execution layer, which is going to rely on Ethereum, and the fourth layer will be a proving layer that standardizes the zero-knowledge proof process across all Polygon chains. So they are effectively looking to combine the Polygon POS chain, the Polygon ZK EVM chain, and make them all compatible and interoperable with Ethereum. And I do think that moving forward, this is going to be a very good strategy for the Polygon team to not only accelerate the adoption of their blockchain, but also to really accelerate the adoption of their MATIC token and bring in new use cases. One thing that people have been very critical of when it comes to Polygon is the fact that they have long advertised their POS chain as a layer 2 solution for Ethereum, when it's actually not whatsoever. The Polygon POS chain is its own separate blockchain, and Polygon ZK EVM is actually more of a true layer 2 solution along the lines of something like Arbitrum or like Optimism, and it currently sits in 51st place here in terms of TVL. So if you do believe in the Polygon team and their ability to really bring a Polygon zero-knowledge EVM to the masses, then it would appear that this chain is currently undervalued based on if you do believe it does have that potential to become a top 10 blockchain. Now, I do also want to show you guys the MATIC chart here, and one reason, what is this chart? Let's get rid of everything. One reason that I do want to talk about this MATIC chart is because I think the big thing when it comes to Polygon is that it looks a lot better than a lot of other altcoins out there at the moment. We can actually see that although it has had its ups and downs, and currently is in a very big drawdown from its all-time high. At the moment, its drawdown right here from that all-time high is give or take about 77%, but we can see that over the long term, Polygon has actually been forming a set of higher lows. So I do think that Polygon is one of those altcoins that is actually pretty likely to hit a new all-time high in the next bull run. And with its all-time high currently sitting at about $3, I mean, that is a lot of room to the upside. Now, the one thing that I would be a little bit mindful of here is the fact that, like a lot of other altcoins, Polygon is in fact breaking down versus its Bitcoin pair. And there is one last level of support here down at the, it's a lot of decimals, but 0.000174. You guys can see here that if Polygon does break below this level valued in Satoshis, that I do think Polygon probably will underperform Bitcoin for the foreseeable future. So Polygon in a very interesting kind of phase at the moment, coming to a long-term uptrend here versus its USD pair, but also potentially facing a level of support versus its Bitcoin pair. And that's why I will be keeping an eye on Polygon for the next bull run. If we do see another dip in the market, I will potentially consider adding this to my portfolio. Now, I do want to wrap things up here talking about CRO coin and the record burns that are taking place. As we can see at the moment, there is about 12.8 million CRO waiting to be burned with a USD value of $732,000. And this comes after the crypto.org chain burn proposal was actually proposed back in April, and it did pass in mid-May. And effectively, what this is doing is taking a portion of the crypto.org chain rewards, so 15%, which would be handed out to validators, and instead redirecting it to a community burn wallet for this CRO to be burned and removed from the float. And overall, while I have been pretty net negative on the burn proposal, it is nice to see this CRO coin racking up in the community wallet waiting to be burned. And this also does coincide with the crypto.org chain coming back to a big record milestone in terms of CRO delegated to the chain. As we can see, the crypto.org chain currently has 5.985 billion CRO coin bonded. So we are very close to that $6 billion level. For those of you that were around when the burn proposal was passed, it actually fell from about 6.3 billion down to 5.3 billion as people were not happy with the burn proposal. And we have pretty much recovered all of the CRO that was lost from that pool since the burn wallet did go live. And to take into account here that we have about 25 billion CRO in circulation at the moment, I think this is 26 billion now. That CoinMarketCap is a little bit outdated, but this goes to show you guys that about a quarter of all CRO coin in circulation is currently locked up on this chain, looking to earn that juicy 8.5% yield on this altcoin. Yes, it is not the double-digit yield that was valid before the burn proposal went live, and that's one big reason I was pretty critical of that burn from day one. However, 8.5%, when you put into perspective, getting under a 5% yield on Ethereum, 8.5% for CRO coin is not bad at all. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. You know what to do. If you made it all the way to the end, go ahead and claim that champion status in the comment section down below. My throat sounds like absolute shit, so I'm going to rest it up. But I do hope to catch you guys in the next one. Peace out for now.